Hello, everyone. Welcome to the stream. Hey guys, today we're talking a lot of things. We're talking about merch. We got some merch. It's actually live right now. I think a few things are YouTube still catching up on, but most of it's live. So we'll talk about that some. I've got a friend here who actually helps make the merch and or well, doesn't help, makes the merch and has done all the design and stuff for it. And then a little bit later on, I'm going to introduce you guys to a couple of people that are on the team. One is Daedric, who I think you guys know has been on the team for a while. He helps with the website, helps with the guides and stuff like that, and a bit with Parsis and stuff like that. And then we also got Luna. Luna Carey is going to be on a little bit later as well, who is the newest addition to the team. And Luna, I think we've talked to her several times here on the channel. She's done a bunch of in-game really cool stuff, really cool. I don't know, products. I don't know if that's the right thing, but like, tools. Tools is the right word for everybody for in-game and stuff like that. And so, yeah, that's what we got planned. But we'll start off here, and I have my friend, and I'm not sure. I don't want to use your real name. What are you going by? Friend, mysterious friend.
Uh, well, my online alias is Black Falcon Wolf. What is a Falcon Wolf? I don't know. Use your imagination. But all my friends call me Bonky, so you can just refer to me as Bonky.
Okay, awesome, awesome. All right, so Bonky, so well, let me actually before I kick it to you. Nani says hello, by the way. What's going on, Patrick? Good to see you. I want to start off by saying, first off, I've been looking to do merch for like a hot second, okay? And I talked to Bonky for a little bit before, and this was like a year ago. She helped me with some logo design and stuff like that. Not the Nighthawk logo. I'll take all the fault for that one, but with some other stuff and just kind of upping my graphics game, making better thumbnails and all that kind of stuff. And we looked at talked about doing some merch and what that would look like and what have you. And I was trying to find someplace local, and I did, and I tried working with them for a little bit, and they basically just started kind of ghosting me. And I don't think it was malicious. It was just that they were not that organized. And I just don't. Corporations, when they get to a certain point, all seem to turn evil. I don't know why it is, but it seems like a truth of the universe that all roads, like for a corporation, lead to like a lead to a train wreck of human rights violations and just bad things in general. So I've always wanted to do something more bespoke, and whenever you do something like that, there's also a little bit more customization and stuff like that you can do. So that's why I reached out. And before we talk too much to Wonky, I actually want to just show you guys. Yes, so Vatra's asking, is the merch limited time? It is. It is. It is going to be on sale for 2 weeks from today. I think we'll actually end it on the Saturday. But 2 weeks from today is when it'll end, so it's up for 2 weeks, and then we'll aim for we'll aim for shipping 2 weeks after that. Okay, so this is like kind of a pre-order deal. Once we get all the orders, we'll make all the shirts, and then we'll send them out to everybody. And I can show you. So we've got basically three basic designs for Nighthawk Gaming, and then we've also got some really cool designs that are class based that I'll show you in a second. So for the Nighthawk Gaming, there's a basic T-shirt. It's going to be large on the front. This logo here, Nighthawk Gaming. We've got some, and you can find this. You know what? Let me post this in chat actually, real quick, if anybody wants to go take a look. And this also should be popping up, and I'm sorry guys, we're going to post this twice because I'm going to post it on over there on Twitch as well. But you could go up here, you can see what they actually look like, see some real life pictures as well as some of the mock-ups and stuff like that. So the basic one here just has the Nighthawk Gaming logo on the front, and or I'm sorry, the Nighthawk on the front with We Know in the hand, the Dark Brotherhood on the back. It has the Nighthawk Gaming logo, and then so that starts there. And then if you want to go up, that's 25 for 30 bucks. We've got we added some additions to the sleeve. Alpha tester, because these are a limited run. I don't think that we're gonna do this exact style again. We would do something else in the future. And again, it's just trying to, alpha tester, right? That's the first testing of your game, and then beta testing comes later. So I thought that was appropriate. And, you guys are kind of alpha testers of the channel. So, we have that. And then on the other sleeve, we just have a fun, like, Daedric pentagram here that Bonky here made, which looks pretty pretty cool to me. And then if you want to go up to the 35, we actually get, it's not actually my signature. We talked about this before, but with, so I'd asked Bonky and she was like, yeah, you can write on them with pen, but I think you said like 7 or 8 washes is all it usually lasts. Is that right?
Yeah, something like you can do like the paint pens, but they're out of all the shirts I've ever had, that's the first thing to come off unless you use like a Sharpie marker.
Okay. Cool. All right. So we went with like it's actually like silver foil there. We've also got hoodies that we'll be doing also same kind of features there. And then something that's really cool that even if you don't like the channel at all, I think is kind of cool is we've got class hoodies. Can I ask about any of the um this Necro one looks really cool. I really like that. And I also really like the Warden one. The bear I think looks really dope, but
Yeah,
maybe that's
I'm
just
I'm
me.
wearing my Warden one right now. My Warden test shirt. It's
that
been through the wash more times than necessary to test it.
that's awesome. That's awesome. Cake Man says it's because management is always selective for profit, so they always tend towards maximizing profit over everything else. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, exactly. I think that is the problem. So yeah, we were trying to figure out something where like some of the higher dollar ones here are. I mean, obviously they're more expensive, but hopefully it's kind of cool. You get the logo. You get the signature and everything. That's actually my signature. It's just been digitized and printed, and yeah, and then we've got a couple of class ones. More classes are coming. We just don't have them all up here yet. But yeah, maybe Bonk, if we can maybe talk a little bit about your whole process. How long have you been? So I know you teach some at a university,
Mhm.
but you've been doing graphic design then I assume and stuff like this for a long time.
It's
Tell us
hard
about your
really to
experience.
it's really hard to put a finger on like when I started. Um, but you could probably take that all the way to my first experience with Photoshop,
Okay.
which was grade 5.
Wow.
I still I still remember those multicolored Macs and where I had a photo of a lizard. I think it was an iguana or something like that.
Okay.
And then what I did, I just made it black and white, and then I painted colors over it. And then my teacher acted like it was the greatest thing he'd ever seen.
Well, that's nice.
And then
That's
he printed it and sent it to me. So I'll spare you my whole life story, but basically, fast forward, I went to an arts high school. I did so for literary arts, surprisingly, but that that's a whole other story. But there, I found a media design course, and I just kind of kept running with it. So I loved art, but I wanted to know how to make it, for lack of a better word, practical, if that makes sense.
yeah, like more accessible, not just like fine art that only super wealthy people. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm putting. Is that what you mean? Because that's what I think
Well, well,
of.
kind of like that. Like as much as I love paintings, like I wanted to do more. I wanted to make more. So when I was in university, I picked a program that allowed me to do all kinds of art. So let's see if I remember all 6 of the disciplines. It was like drawing, painting, sculpture, printmaking, photography, and design. Oh my god, I remembered them all. So I took both printmaking and design, of course, but printmaking is the interesting one because that's where I found my love of making merch.
Okay, huh? That makes sense.
So
I mean, yeah, you're
yeah,
printing.
they had silk screening there, and I was in the basically in the office all the time. I didn't go home. I sat there and I silk screened everything. I did little birds in armor. I did all kinds of stuff, and I never stopped. I put it on T-shirts. I put them on tote bags, and I just ran with it. It was a lot of fun.
That's really cool. I mean, I love the idea of creating. I think most people, if given time, find some sort of creative outlet is always kind of nice. But if you can turn it into a job, at least from my perspective, I think it's a great thing. Of course, I love getting to
Well,
do what I do. So
well, yeah, absolutely. It's like it's one of those things where I honestly feel like, if as just human beings, if your needs are fulfilled, then most people will naturally turn to some form of art
huh, yeah, that's a
because it's fun and it's
yeah.
fulfilling.
or games. Some of us just play games. I think that might be its own form. I think games are their own form of art, though. I think
Well, they are 100%.
most developers would argue that at least. Well, that's really cool. Well, so when we were trying to figure out something for the logo here, or logo, I'm calling it a logo. This design, um, a long time ago, Bonky had come up with this. I really like this Daedric design here, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. But we didn't really quite find anything to do with it that quite worked out. Probably just didn't. And then I love the Dark Brotherhood, the hand symbol, the Dark Brotherhood. I kind, like if it were me, I would just walk around with like a murder me symbol above my head. I think I don't know why. It's not a good idea, but I just love it. It's one of the funnest things about doing the Dark Brotherhood quests in ESO. And so it's just kind of an iconic symbol here. This is a little bit. This is a custom one. This isn't just from straight off of ESO here, but I just thought it was kind of nice. And yeah, just kind of a little bit something different. So, one thing I'll tell you guys is like this was a limited run. If you guys have any ideas or thoughts for future merch or whatever, throw it out there. I think this is just one of the ideas. I know some other folks. I haven't actually talked to Bonky about this, but I know some other folks that do stuff with tabletops and what have you, and they work in different mediums as you're talking about. And one day I hope to be able to work with some more people like this. But just realize, guys, in the future, whenever you see merch and stuff like this, I think that the way. If you get this stuff made cheaply and it's all about the bottom line, people don't get treated well. Everybody's got to make a living, and so I don't think we can ever compete on price with other. I mean, I think we've done pretty good here, but just realize like it might be a little bit more expensive than what you're used to as far as most things. And I just want you to part of why I asked Bonky to come on is like so you can know what's going on. Bonky is actually. Not only did she design the shirts, she's making them, so it's and shipping and everything else. So this is all not being done by and I know that like I mean I love the idea of efficiencies in corporations, right, or large businesses, right? Like yeah, I would love to have a lot of those efficiencies, but a lot of those efficiencies also come attached with the human cost sometimes. So that's the whole idea. I just want you to know that when you're spending money on any of these products, it's coming as much as I can from folks that are that you can know, that you can meet, that you can talk to, and it's not with abusive labor practices or anything like that. As much as we can help, I don't know where these, I don't know if we're sourcing all of our shirts, and everything like that, but as much as we can. So.
Well, I swapped the base shirt now. Now we're using one that has a percentage of, I think it's 40%. Yeah, 40% recycled polyester. So
Oh, cool.
a little something else.
Nice. That's awesome. Cool. Well, chat is so quiet right now. I guess they're just hanging out, listening to us. Um, other questions or other things I thought were kind of interesting. You are also like working on doing this as a business, right? And I know that you've made other merch and other shirts and stuff before making this. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, for sure. So I have a store up called So Jelly. At the moment, I have it on Etsy. It's terrible. I know. I should have my own website because I do. I teach web devs. I should. I should be making my own website. But Etsy handles a lot of the extra finance and stuff behind the scenes, so
Okay.
it makes my life easier that way.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, one day I will absolutely be building my own website. We hope to go in that direction.
That's
But
awesome.
but yeah, I've been doing this since how long has my shirt store been up? About 2019 is when I started. So right before right before COVID hit.
Okay. Okay,
And
cool.
uh
How was that?
and I just found a bunch of shirts and I found out that I could actually pay for like not an industrial cutter, but like a small one that could cut vinyl for me.
Nice. Yeah, and what other kind of well, and actually, do you have a link you could send me real quick, and I can pop it up for
I
everybody?
absolutely do. Um,
And for those who don't know, I know Bonky from I think gaming in general, but we've also done some tabletop stuff together. at least on one occasion, and I know that in general she's just kind of a nerd just like us. And I think it's cool too when you have nerds making nerd stuff. It goes a long ways. Um, Cake Mint says, "Wait, independent manufacturing is actually so based." I mean, I think it's, we're going to see more of that, smaller manufacturing and stuff like that, and less of having it made on the other side of the world and shipped around. I mean, there's still, you know, economies of scale, and there's still also, trade. It makes sense, for some groups to specialize. It just seems like it's gotten so out of hand where you have, I mean, you know, there are still sweatshops, where children are making products and stuff like that. And, some people want to bring that kind of stuff back, actually. Um,
Yeah,
uh,
unfortunately.
yeah, try to change labor laws and stuff, and you're like, no, this is, guys. If you ever want to be horrified and a little bit saddened by the state of humanity, look up labor practices during the Industrial Revolution. Um, cool. So here's I'm sorry, Bonky's. It's so hard for me because I call you like three different things. Bonky's website
It's
here.
totally okay.
I really like this Cheshire cat. It's not really my vibe, but I would get one. I would get one for
Yeah,
Lyriel for
that one
sure.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So.
UV reactive.
Oh, okay. So glow. Oh my God, it glows in the dark and it's black. I knew this, but now I feel like I'm rediscovering it. That's kind of amazing. I will link that in chat over here as well, guys. So if you want to go check it out, and Bonky's going to continue to put out more. Did that not work? Oh yeah, it did work. Okay, it's going to continue to put out more and more products, and some of that might be ESO related, and we'll have it on the channel and stuff like that. But you can also go check her stuff out here if you just want to see. I mean, they're kind of cool, just like fun, unique designed shirts. Is there any particular theme or anything? It's just like what inspires you, or is there any themes for your store?
Well, that what inspires me is a really big one, but I do a lot of stuff. Like a lot of my designs come from wanting to make a gift for somebody. If I need to get myself going on any kind of design, I say, okay, I'm making this as a present for somebody, and then it'll get done a lot faster.
There is a due date. There's a birthday. There's an occasion coming up. You got to do it. That I get that. Well, cool. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to come on and chat with me for a minute. And guys, does anybody have any questions for either one of us before we're not going anywhere? Well, I'm not going anywhere, but we'll move on and then start talking ESO and everything. I just wanted, the merch coming out was pretty cool, and also wanted to plug. Uh, um, to plug the merch store and everything. So we'll give you guys just a second if you got anything. And
I have in the meantime, I have uh, a little bit of a surprise for you. So I was working on a Nightblade design, which we don't have up yet.
okay, I'm excited. Where's this going?
So I had a bunch of stuff and I wasn't happy with any of the ones that I originally had, the ones that you've seen already.
Okay.
So I did some work and we've got this one. I'll just send it to you in Discord.
Okay. Oh, sweet.
This is the new one that I am much happier with.
That's awesome. Let me see if I can bring this up for everybody else here real quick. Oh, it can't be named generic image. Let me name it something.
I think it's named Capture at the moment because I screenshot it off of Illustrator.
Oh, okay. I think Windows was just going to call it image. just image. It's like, no, you've already got a few of those images. Ah, cool. I really like this. Now, I don't think that you know or thought of this. I mean, I guess it's kind of, I mean, Cheshire Cat kind of does actually has like kind of that silhouette kind of thing, but a little bit it kind of reminds me of some of the old Disturbed album a little bit. Like there's
Oh my god, yes it does.
and I love Disturbed, so I absolutely love this. This is really cool. Man, okay. Well, you guys are going to get to see plenty of merch in the future because I'm going to be rocking it because this stuff looks cool. Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. Nani here said Bonky taught me portals in my first try group. She is awesome. Oh man, do you
You were
remember?
awesome, Melanie. You
Uh,
were an awesome portal buddy. I miss you.
well, that's cool. That's great. And so, what do we got? What do we got left here? What is still to come? So we've got um, so we got Sork, we got DK, we got Necro, we got Warden. Looks like Nightblade is there to me. What are the last two? We got Arcanist. I guess that one could be
Arcanist.
that one.
Yeah.
You just gotta just beams like just like have you seen I'm sure you've seen Critical Role
Mhm.
Scanlan, the bard character where he's like a rock and roll bard, and I feel like there's like scenes I've seen from the cartoons where there's like laser light show behind them. I feel like that's all you need, just make it look like a rock concert. That
Yeah,
fits.
the two missing classes are the beam classes.
Oh my gosh, just laser light show everywhere. Cake Man says, "Man, that's old school, like 2019 Critical Role." Hey man, hey man, just watch it. I got no
Since when
comeback for
is
that. But
since when is 2019 old school?
yeah,
Don't make me
I
feel
don't
old.
know, but I'm at this point I'm getting used to people considering like I mean you're like I got introduced to Photoshop in like fifth grade, and I know that there's old Daedrix is old hero. I know that there are people that are like in fifth grade we didn't have typing class yet because that was me. uh,
Oh man, typing class.
uh, Luke says we are old knight. Indeed, indeed. um,
Doesn't mean you have to admit it at any point in time.
Vatra asks, when the Nightblade, will the Nightblade design be up soon? Yes. Yes, it will. If it's done, then it's a pretty simple process to get it
Yep,
up.
it's going up, and I I don't make anything that I wouldn't wear. So that means I'm definitely going to be making a sample for myself, so you guys can get some more authentic pictures of what it's actually going to look like, and we'll have it up.
Awesome. Awesome. Dietrich, I miss the days of trolling on forums. Oh my gosh. Oh man, Daedric being one of the original internet trolls. He's like old and grizzled now. He's got like gray hairs coming out his ear like I do. Um, oh my gosh, I graduated high school around then. All right. Enough of that. Enough of making us feel old. Um, not really. I don't really care. Well, cool. That's awesome. So, do you think? Well, never mind. I won't put you to it, but I think that we'll have all of the class designs up, guys, before the 2 week period is over. So, I think that that's likely. And if it's
No
not,
class left behind.
yeah, okay, cool. No class left behind. I like it. I like it. Cool. So, well, guys, I want to bring in. I think it sounds like Jadric and Luna are here, and so we'll bring them on and talk to them in just a second. But just to go over it one more time, you can find all this stuff. You can actually now find the links. YouTube has been a little bit weird here, where it was only like letting me link a couple of these. But there's the t-shirts start at 25. There's three different versions. The $30 version adds the sleeves. You get alpha tester on one, Daedric symbol on the other, and then for 35 you get my signature. The signature thing I think is like it's so I know from being a fan of friends who have made stuff in like the TTRPG space. Like I had a friend who gave me published stuff that he had made, and I was like, dude, you got to sign this. And he was like, I was like, no, dude, you got to, like, it's cool. I'm not worried. It's not like I think it's going to be worth something. I just think it's cool that you made this. You need to sign it for me. And they never did. And I'm still mad at them a little bit for it. And I just think I know a lot of people, when your friend makes something cool, you're like, yeah, you should sign this. And the person who made it is always like, no, I shouldn't do that. But like, no, it's not a big deal. But I think it is a big deal. And why I didn't make these or whatever. I think you're buying merch from my channel or what have you. I think some people will think it's cool to get it signed. So that's why I wanted to do it, because get over yourself and realize like, hey, it's one of the things that people want. So there are basic T-shirts, again, that start at 25, go up to 35, and then the hoodies. I think the hoodies are really cheap. I don't even know what we ended up with. I want to say like 65 or maybe even lower. Was it 60? But you can just go onto here and just click, and it should take you to the rest. And if you go to home, it'll bring you back, and you can see all of the other stuff. As YouTube allows me, I will link everything else, including the hoodies on the various videos and the class designs there, so everybody can see it. But again, you can probably the easiest way. Eventually, hopefully, we'll have some links up on the website and what have you as well. Nani says, "Okay, I'm out. If you are old, I'm ancient." Well, Nani, to anybody who's not young, I feel like everybody's old. That's just kind of the way it goes. Uh, uh, Chicken Ear is asking, "Does it look cool under the black light?" I don't know that any of these are planned to be black light sensitive.
These ones are not UV reactive,
Okay.
because the process to make those is a lot more involved. But if that's something you're interested in, there's always potential.
Okay. Cool. All
It would
right.
just be a lot more expensive because they take a lot more time to make.
Sure. Yeah. Understandable. Understandable. Can you ballpark us, like highball it, so that we can come down if there's actually a price we could do a lot lower? Twice the cost.
Cool. Double. Oh no, not quite that bad. I would say around like probably the thing that I have. It's about 48 Canadian that I have on my other store, so probably around the same.
Okay. Cool.
So that would be more like what, 45 US, less than that.
Okay. That's awesome. Nani says, "Truth, I still feel young." So there it is. Indeed. Jadrick says it circles around when you're old enough when you're old enough to being young. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, cool. Chicken, that was a great question, man. Thank you for that. Bonky, thank you so much for coming on and chatting with us today. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
And thanks for all the
This is
great
your
the great designs.
happy to do them. I'm happy to always make more. If anyone's got any ideas, throw them my way. I love a challenge.
Awesome. Cool. Well, guys, throw them in the comments here if you have anything. Bonky can check them out. When we do another run of all this stuff, I think what we kind of chatted about doing, we'll see, but I will put out some ideas there. We might even put out some kind of rough art or something and see what you guys like. I like the idea of doing limited runs because I think it's kind of cool. You can get something here now in this place in time, and it's gone after that, and we'll move on to something else. And you'll have that shirt that you got that one time. And again, I the whole idea here is this. I really appreciate everybody who helps support the channel, helps me make cool things, and helps Bonky in this case make cool things. And that's really what it's kind of all about. And hopefully you can get something from it. I really appreciate everybody who gives to the channels, all the super chats and everything else we've gotten recently. It's a huge deal, guys. And the plan is to slowly grow the channel until not I don't need too much from any one person. Hopefully the goal is to have a wide enough appeal and a high enough quality content of all sorts that it's good for everybody. And I honestly think that with some of these like class t-shirts that Bonky here is doing and other stuff that she does, it's cool enough that like anybody could want this. So if you got some friends in ESO, even if they're not someone who's a sweaty person and wants to learn about how to do maximum DPS or how to tank trials or whatever, they still might love their Warden and want one. This is something I'm absolutely going to get for Lyriel, the Warden one, because she loves her Warden. So yeah, well, all right, appreciate it again, Bonky, and I guess we'll see you later. I'll be talking to you very soon, but au revoir for everybody else.
Yeah. See you later. Have a good one. And this is your friendly neighborhood EC Crow signing off.
Nice. Oh no, no more EC Crows. All
I
right.
miss it a little bit. I do.
Awesome. Well, cool. Well, guys, maybe we can get Daedric and Luna. Are you guys around now, or do you wanna chat in a minute? Looks like at least one of them's popping in. Cake Man says, "When I was 70, I will think, oh, to be 50 again. When I'm 50, I'll think, oh, to be 30 again. When I'm 30, I'll think, oh, to be 20 again." You're young until you die. That's awesome. Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, we got Daedric and Luna in now. That's Luna, do you just want to join any channel? I don't know if you can. We're hiding so no one accidentally drops in, because sometimes when I'm streaming or what have you, people will drop in to say hello, and that's not a. I don't mind that at all. But sometimes they drop in and they ask questions about different games than or different topics than the one we're covering right now. Awesome, cool. Looks like we're in here. All right, Nani. Appreciate you dropping by. We'll see you later. Good luck. Good luck on the raid. All right. Well, so guys, to give a little bit of background here on what's going on and what's been going on with the channel, I've told you guys before. I won't go into the details, but talked about as the channel makes a little bit of money, the whole idea is to reinvest all of that as much as I can that makes sense into and I say that it would be nice one day to make a profit, but that's okay. But to reinvest it into growing the channel. The plan has never been and never will be for just to cover ESO. I don't want to ever stop covering something until it's like, okay, this game is dead, and I don't think MMOs really die. But the plan is to continue to add things to be able to cover, add essentially products to be able to and I say products, then we're talking about merch. That kind of is maybe the wrong term. Tools, perhaps. So that's why the website, it was like a central place to be able to post things, some stuff in written format, and for people to be able to download those, I call them cards, but those little PDFs and stuff like that everybody can download. You can have it on your phone, you can have it on your desktop or whatever, and you can pop it up. I honestly use those for my own benefit. I'm like, what did I do on this build? Like, I just need to look at the skills and see the flex spots, and I can figure out which ones to grab. So towards that end, a while ago, I think almost a year ago, or maybe more, I was like, Daedric, I need some help. So I was able to work with Daedric to get the website up, and I think that's gone really, really well. Daedric is working full time at other job, probably more than full time. And so, he's been killing it, also helping out and also doing the website. And then just recently, I had a chance I chatted with Luna. I kind of put this out to her a while ago and just kind of like brought it back up again. And Luna is incredibly knowledgeable about ESO, and as someone who's kind of a subject matter expert, she's also made some ridiculously amazing tools for raid composition. And I was like, man, these are much better than what I do. And so so recently we pulled her on, and so yeah, that's the team. Daedric is a little bit under the weather, so I was kind of talking for him a little bit. But Daedric, man, do you want to say hi, and I don't know, maybe tell us anything about the website or anything else that you're thinking about's on your mind?
Yeah. So, like Knight said, I've been working on the website since I think February last year was when I started.
Okay. Has it been so long?
Yeah, it has been. Yeah, I think the website's been going pretty good so far. There's a lot of stuff we still need to add, especially for other games. Right now it's only ESO focused, and there's some stuff behind the scenes being worked on, for Helldivers, doing builds for that, having templates and whatnot for that.
Hell
do
yeah.
that. And then I don't know. We got other games currently in the focus. We might make some more stuff for that. It's kind of up in the air.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, some games lend themselves towards guides, and some games to me kind of don't as well, and also kind of lend themselves towards different things. So I think that's also a big part of it, at least for me, where it's a bit of this kind of bespoke thing where it's like, yeah, for Helldivers, you're kind of just mentioning really fun builds. It's not like, hey, this is what you need to do X amount of DPS because that's what matters. It's more like, hey, here's something that's kind of cool, or do you want to troll your team? Go on this build, and that sort of thing. So yeah, that's another thing that some of this stuff takes a long time, and so when you guys get to see it, might be like Daedric's been working on the Helldivers thing, and then Helldivers changes, and some of the stuff is kind of a moving target. But I think so far it's been pretty good. Chicken says volumes, and I think it's just a little bit hard to hear. I'm sorry, I think Daedric's just talking a little bit quietly because he's a little bit sick today. So apologies there. I've got him cranked up as about as high as I can go. Well, let's maybe bring in so we don't have to strain Daedric too much with his vocal cords. Let's bring in Luna. Luna, hello. Maybe she's here. She's not here.
Quick
Hello, hello. Sorry,
distraction.
sorry, sorry. I was muted for a second. I didn't realize. Hello, guys. How are you doing?
No worries, no worries. Doing great, doing great. Luna, I don't even have, I was thinking, full disclosure, guys, I've been running around like a lunatic for the past like 3 weeks, and and other stuff's going on or whatever. Getting the merch out today was like I didn't know if it was going to happen, and I'd already put up the live stream, and I say all that to say I apologize. I don't have all the tools that we're working on right now, but Luna has been working on. So she did recently the raid composition guide, which was absolutely crazy. We've also got some guides for, and I think I could pull them up here in just a second. We've also got some calculators because I think a lot of people have asked recently for calculators for stuff like damage mitigation and what have you, and so we're going to have those as well. But Luna, can you tell us just like I am curious, and I kind of know. Well, I don't kind of know. I do know, but I think it would be really interesting for people to hear like what is your what got you into gaming, and how did we end up here where it was like, hey, do you want to do this thing, and you're like, yeah, that sounds like fun.
Okay, okay. So a little backstory, I guess. I started gaming not that long ago because I think usually people start playing like video games like really early in their lives, like when they're still kids.
Yeah.
But I started gaming because of my brother. Basically, he was playing Ragnarok Online, which was an MMORPG that we still play quite a lot in Brazil. Here, it's pretty popular here. It's one of the old schools one from 2004,
Okay.
almost my age. And like my brother really liked that, and I started playing MMORPGs like being basically his bot farm person. He would just put me to farm some stuff for him. And then he was like, "Oh, you're doing great. Let's do something else.
Oh
Let's
my
do
gosh.
something else. And hey, learn this. Hey, look this. Like, hey, if you read this, you will learn." And he just like was throwing me links and guides and wikis of the game, and I started like learning more and more and becoming a knowledgeable person in a game that I used to only play with him, which was a bit crazy. But with time, I like it got really big in me, like this MMORPG thing, especially because of this game, because I played a lot. I was a guild leader here in Brazil. I had a lot of friends. I still have them. I still play with them. And but I don't play like that many games, honestly. Like it started when I had like about 13, 14 years old, so it's not that long ago, honestly. And when I moved to ESO, it was more like, oh, I want to have like a big experience, a big MMORPG experience, one of the big ones. I want something more close to that, like having a big community, and I wanted to give a chance, like for one of the big ones and see how it would be, because I knew it was pretty interesting, like the group content, trials and raids or whatever the game calls it. It was really interesting, so I started researching about MMORPGs, and it was like a big rabbit hole for me because I spent so much time searching about many games. It took me a month to even start playing ESO, like just watching videos and searching stuff and getting to guides, like seeing videos like from Lucky Ghost, later your videos as well. So all this like hit me when I was beginning the game. And what I like about ESO, and for me is like one of the most important things about games, and this has a lot to do with what I'm doing right now, is how much theory craft we have in ESO. Because you can do like a bunch of combinations, sets, combinations, skills, races. Like you have plenty of ways to go with your build. It's like super open. You have choices to make. They matter. It's hard to do them. You need to understand about a lot of different stuff to bring up like the interesting and cool builds. So it's a lot harder. I played all other MMORPGs. Like I played a little bit of Final Fantasy 14, for example, but it was the opposite. You have like no theory craft there. You don't choose your skills. You have all of them. You're just like learning how to perform the game. And even though I really like to perform the game, like doing the nerdy stuff is a big thing for me. I have to have this experience, and ESO is great because of that. So it really hooked me, and now it has like 1 year that I'm playing ESO. Not straight year, but yeah,
And
basically 1 year of experience now.
you know more than the next like 3 people, 10 people combined. So that's pretty crazy. You picked it up pretty fast. I
I
think
like
there's
reading.
well, I think there's some of us that are like that. Someone made the comment the other day, and I don't want to like. This is a comment that is frequently made, and it's kind of like if you give people the opportunity, they'll optimize the fun out of a game. And when I hear developers say that, it kind of like it kind of like I feel like a knife stab maybe in the back actually because I may have bought their game, and it's like, man, you don't understand me. For a lot of people, and this isn't, yeah, so for a lot of us, one of the ways that we enjoy a game is the optimization. It's a fun puzzle to solve. And for some of us,
Yeah.
that sounds like the worst thing in the world. And you're like, why the hell would you do that? Listen, I if you I'm not a knitter. I'm not going to enjoy knitting. If you sit me down and try to get me to do, to knit, like I'll do it and I'll probably have a little bit of fun, but I'm not going to become a knitter. It's just not going to happen. And that's okay. I don't think knitting is bad, and I don't think people that knit are bad. Or whatever, or boring, or I don't know, whatever else, whatever people say about, and it's the same thing. And it just hurts when it's from a developer because it shows that they don't understand their player base, or at least a big part of their player base. And I think that the other thing is too, like you can be both things. Like there are games that I play for optimal, kind of play, and there are games like, for example, Baldur's Gate, right? I couldn't stand not that I really disliked it, but like just on a personal level, like I don't want a guide to the best build in Baldur's Gate. It's a role playing game. That's what
Yeah.
it to me. That's what it's for. And I say that there are other games that are like that I am more interested in optimal play. So it really just depends. Sometimes you do stuff one way, sometimes you do it another. Chicken says one thing I need is a place to see where buffs come from, gear, skills, passives, consumable. Chicken, I have news for you, man. I have it for you. And it might not be exactly what you're looking for. I'm sure it's not because probably you've seen this before. But just to get sidetracked for a second, UESP is a great resource, and they have all of the buffs listed, and you can have them by link here. And if you go down, and I think this is usually I haven't found anything that I didn't think was up to date. I don't quote me on that. I don't know who updates this website, but if you're just looking for a source, here you go, man. And you can look and you can say, okay, which of these do I need? But I think what you would love probably to see is something a little bit more curated, perhaps, and maybe the good places where to get these buffs and why it makes sense. And I'm sure that's probably more of what you're talking about. And we'll keep that in mind. Maybe it's something we can do in the future. Well, I just want to talk a little bit briefly about a couple of things that you've done here, Luna, recently.
Sure.
The most recently is the penetration and critical damage calculator, and this is why it takes a team, guys. So I'm working on a video kind of explaining this and walking through it and also relating it back to group optimization and everything. So I'm doing kind of the video editing and all that kind of stuff. Luna here has done the work here in Google Docs, which is great because anybody can access it for free and you can play around with it and what have you. And then Daedric is working on putting these up on the website. So you'll be able to go onto the website and I think what we talked about a little bit. I think what we're going to do is do some sort of tab that'll just be links to all the tools and everything. But this is it's kind of, I think, what Chicken would like for this kind of buff thing. It's the pen and crit calculator version of it. This doesn't necessarily offer every single thing in the game. Well, Luna, I guess maybe talk to me little bit about like what went into creating this and what was your thought process? What did we leave in? What did we take out?
Okay, okay. I think it's pretty important, especially like on the new update, because so much stuff has changed on the last update. So we have calculators from other people, from other players that also made some cool stuff.
Yeah,
This is not the first one.
sure,
Uh,
sure.
but like making for this update, I can make sure it's updated because a lot of stuff are changing, and it's I think it's especially important because like group compositions right now they are really optimizing into pen and critical damage with the subclasses, and with this calc you can easily like check how you can do that. So for pen you have like the Herald of the Tome passive, like splinter secrets there, and the Gravelord Dismember passive. It's easy for you to like take a look and see how it would impact your build. Because you need to understand like how close you are to the pen cap. What do you need as a raid leader? Oh, do I need like a pen set to help like in a support or something, so I can relieve my DDs to the pressure of using like pen stuff and put more into damage. So a lot of people are thinking about pen right now, and also critical damage, like it kind of goes under the same boat.
Right.
And so I think it's a really important moment to make something like really well designed like that. And whenever I do something like that, the calculator and my roster tool sheets and everything, what goes into my mind is trying to make something simple to use, good aesthetic looking,
Right.
because I know a lot of people that like are wizards on sheets and they do a lot of stuff, but they all they look like just sheets, you know. And I don't want people to look at that and feel like it looks like sheets, it looks like Excel and etc. I want people to
It
look
looks like
at that.
sheets. It looks like sheet.
Yeah, it's really easy because you can just see and the check boxes and it's easy to use. It feels more like a calculator. It feels more pleasant to the eye. So all those stuff come into my mind. It is not only about like the calculations and stuff and the codes in the sheets. That took me a lot of time of learning about them. But it's not just about it. It's a lot about like looking well, clean, easy to use. I think those are really important stuff because I feel like whenever someone that's not used to like use sheets or Google Sheets or Excel, when they look like a full sheet with a bunch of stuff, it's kind of crazy, you know? It's not user friendly.
Yeah.
So trying to make things user friendly is a big part of my job here, aside of course all the codes and the formulas that I have to put there.
Yeah, well, and I think that's another thing for me and like from my perspective too. And this is something that I feel like I'm constantly doing with as someone who's I don't know. I kind of feel like I straddle the line of like kind of sweaty in-game player. I'm not really that. I don't want to or really try to be that too much. But I also play the game a lot, so I kind of tend that direction. And I have friends that are more so than I am. Um, Daedric and Luna being two prime examples, but there's plenty of others. And then the new player experience and what have you. And with ESO, and then I mean this is going to be no news to a lot of you guys watching. And with a lot of these games is what I'm always trying to do is like how can we distill this complex thing into manageable bites, into manageable ways of thinking about things, and um, even with like talking with like Luna on this sheet, like there was some like back and forth of like, I don't think we need that, or like, oh, but we do need this, or whatever. And it's like, oh, everybody, there's kind of this like everybody knows this thing, and I think we're always asking each other or being like or challenging each other a bit with like does everybody know that or is the thing that's what's really helpful too is having when you have friends, and this is just a truism in life, that will be like challenge you on things, and you might be like no, you might double down, and you might think about it, you might, well, you should think about it, you should take some time and try to prove yourself wrong. That's always the best approach. And if you can't, then you double down. Some of us skip anything in between there and just double down for no reason. You don't want to be that person, guys. But I think that hopefully kind of Voltron style with our powers combined, um, we can make something that's a little bit that is both useful for the in-game player, the maybe this really sweaty in-game player, and but still also accessible to everybody. And I think that's what most of us are trying to do. Most YouTubers are trying to do, because the truth of the matter is the in-game community is relatively small, and the really sweaty in-game community is teeny tiny. Like pretty much everybody knows each other. I think that's fair to say, or at least knows of each other if you've taken the time. Well, I think this is a really useful tool, and I've been really impressed. Like one of the things here, Luna had penetration sets, and I was like, I don't think everybody knows what the penetration sets are. And Luna was like, I'll put a database of all the sets with penetration on. I was like, no, that's too much. And I think what she settled on here is quite nice because it's kind of a curated list of of the popular and good sets that have that like line of penetration on. Am I characterizing that correctly, Luna?
Yeah, yeah, perfectly. And honestly, it's not even like that great of a list of sets that have penetration. Those are like half of them, and they are really relevant. So it was kind of easy to make this list,
Yeah.
and it's super helpful to people.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. And I, part of the reason, guys, just as an FYI, so you can understand a little bit. I don't know. I don't think most people want to know how the cake is made. I guess it's probably not something that most people want to know. But for example, I wanted to. So I'm working on a video that is rate rate group optimization, and with that, I'm always trying to start off with like, hey, here's a couple of setups that you can take and you can run. Let me tell you the couple of situations where you might want to move something around. That's what I'm trying to get to. That's how simple, ideally, I can distill things down. And then I say, and here's why you do all the things that you're doing here. Now, I'm not explaining why every single choice I made I think is the best choice for a given situation, because that would literally take me like hours to go through every single thing. Well, it'd take me an hour, and then you realize like there's also other situations where you have groups that are more optimal, that can do a little bit different, that are a little bit more comfortable with moving things around. And then you can say, well, if you're more comfortable than that, then here's a different situation. And then here's a third one. And usually by the time it's like, hey, here's a fully optimal example, it's kind of weird because there are people that absolutely want and need that. It's a small group of people, but there is a group of people, and there's also a group of people that would do things like that, but they don't need my help. They're gonna come up with whatever they're gonna come up with, and they're gonna be just fine, right? They've got their own calculators and what have you. So there's always like some sort of middle ground. Well, maybe we can move on and talk about. I think most people have seen it, but of course, Luna's continued to make some updates here. I think there's a couple of planned updates to. Of course, this is the roster sheet here. This one's
Yeah.
kind of set up generically now, and this was like monumental task, was it not, Luna?
Yeah, it is. And of course, it's like the hardest one because whenever we talk about like doing updates in it is hard. It's a lot of work because there's a lot of code happening like inside there.
Yeah.
So it's way a lot more work to do updates on that, but we have some stuff planned. Yes.
That's awesome. And there's actually one more thing. Maybe we can give like a sneak peek. I pulled it up here a second ago. Where is it? Maybe here. Do you want to sneak peek? Anybody tell anybody anything that's going on here with the
Sure.
yeah.
I think like we should start talking like this, like all those tools, what make them precious, like at least to me, and I think you agree with that, is that we're making them like first to ourselves
Yeah.
because they're useful, because
Right.
we need them, because we want something. And the way that I started with the roster tool, it was exactly like that. I need something like to organize rosters and like put my ideas and like create stuff because I'm also starting to raid lead some stuff for the Brazilian community. So I need something. And then I begin with that and it becomes something bigger, something like almost out of my control, honestly. It gets to a point that, okay, I think it's really good. I'll share it with people because people could do a really good use with that. And this example that you're showing is a build editor. It's the same exact thing. Like I wanted to make guides for people. I want to put like a build together in a single image in a way that is really easy to use and easy to see because you can see everything like at the same time, everything put together in your face, like really easy to use. So I made this tool, and I could have done it like a lot easier for myself because okay, you can just like type this stuff. You don't need like actual lists if you just want to make it for people like to see the image, the final image. But every time that I get into it, I'm like, oh, okay, I'll make a database for all the image
Uh,
icons in the game, a database for all the traits from jewelry, a database for all the foods, for everything that's useful. So I don't have like to keep thinking. I just like click on a drop down menu and I choose whatever I want and just put there. And then it will take me a lot of work to do that. But after I do that, like making builds will be really easy. And this is a great example of something that I started doing to myself and I'll be publishing to people so people can use it. Because it was totally like 100% for myself just so I could make my guides. And now it became something greater that I can share with people.
Yeah.
And what I like about this is like it's super simple. Everything like in your screen. We have another editors, a lot of editors actually. I think there's at least two big build editors that we have in ESO, and they are great. They work
Yeah.
fine. I have no problem with them. I just wanted to make something that fits a single screen to send people because it's easy to make an image. So that's the whole thought process of this sheet.
Yeah. Yeah. A couple of comments here. So Madrid Girl says that spreadsheet is a beast. So awesome. Uh, thanks, Madrid. I'm sure Luna appreciates that. And then Cake Man said, "As someone who does a ton of D&D theory crafting in Excel, the quality of the styling here is insane. It's like a whole app built in." I would absolutely agree, Cake Man. I think you're right. Yeah, for me, the cool thing about this and the utility of something like this is that you can potentially like if you want it if you're that person who's like, oh, someone keeps asking you about that one build and you're like, yeah, I have this kind of fun build that I bring to groups and like it's not the best thing in the world, but it's really fun to play. And then you're probably a really sweaty player and if you're making your own build and it's really good, and so people will see it, you'll still top parse. And it's not necessarily because it's the best build in the game, but it's because you're a very good player and it's a very good build. Maybe not, again, maybe not quote unquote meta, but still very good. And it's just that's just one for instance of like being able to, oh yeah, let me make something up. Or if someone comes and asks you and they say, hey, can you show me a build that does, or like I need a build that does this. I have to run these 3 skill lines. I don't know what skills to use. And to be able to like pop something in and give it to them, I think the biggest problem, and again, I absolutely agree with Luna here with the other, there are build editors in ESO and they're great. Um, Sometimes they're even a little bit too much. And so I think, again, the idea here was to maybe to try to like, as far as like offering it to everybody else, like Luna was doing this for her own sake, but also like trying to like make something that would be widely useful is also like keeping it as simple as possible and keeping it as all the data that you need in one place and nothing that hopefully that you don't kind of sort of thing. So I think and it's really cool because you can take a screenshot of this and send it to somebody, or you can send them a link or what have you, and they can have it. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, you can also make copies of the sheet, and then you can make like a trash setup, a ball setup, whatever setup, and you can have everything in a single link, which is pretty cool also to share with people.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool.
And like you can type the skill names. You don't need like to actually go through the drop down menu. If
Yeah,
you go
yeah,
to
I saw
spell
that.
you click.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So if you wanted
it
like
makes a lot
barrier,
easier, a lot faster.
yeah, yeah. Yes, if you wanted barrier or whatever on your front bar and what have you. Yeah, these are
Yeah.
just random skills, guys. I was just playing around to show you guys a little bit. I realized that we were looking at a blank one. Maybe I should have popped something
Yeah.
up that was fully filled in, but you kind of get the idea, I think.
Yeah, I thought about that, but then okay, he will learn like doing this live stream will also be fun.
Oh yeah, we could go through everything. Yeah, because it's one thing to like there are situations where someone will none of my builds, like anytime I'm making a build guide, I never can go through all the combinations and stuff too. So it can also be something where like someone can send you a build, you can look at it, and you can be like, no, change this, and this. And sometimes people don't know how to, necessarily change builds from stamina to magicka, and there, anyways, there's just a ton of situations where it can be something relatively quick, not super quick, but relatively quick that you can easily share. And it's a niche thing, but I think it's pretty cool. I think it's pretty awesome, honestly,
Yeah.
even though it is I feel like niche things that are really cool is kind of like most of the most of us who run trials, even if you're just getting into it, like that's kind of our thing, right? Like because we're already doing kind of a niche thing that's pretty cool. At
Yeah.
least that's my take on it. Well, cool. That's
And the
awesome.
cool thing about the last two sheets that we did, like the calculator and this build editor, and
Hmm.
probably other sheets that we're about to do, is that like in the end they will feed the roster tool, because I had to learn some stuff to do those. Like
Yeah.
I had to learn some maths of the game. I had to learn some stuff on the build editor. I learned how to make like a skill bar that you can actually like type names of skills and they pop up. This is really cool. So at some point a lot of stuff that I made for those will come into the roster too. Like I made like a scribing setup that you can choose the scribing skills and mention like
Oh,
the
right.
scripts, which I think is pretty important, and it's also really important for group composition, né? Group optimizations. So this will probably go into that sheet. And the pen and crit calc, it can probably go into the sheet and actually getting data already from the sets that you put in the line. So it's pretty cool. So whenever I do something like that, I learn useful stuff that will feed our main project, which is the roster tool, which is pretty big. So it's pretty cool to do it basically, and it will become something greater in the future. I just need time because those things are really, really a big work.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty impressed with what you've already done. So, yeah, it's really cool, and the idea of like being able to feed everything in together so that it's all one tool. Yeah, so being able to show off some of this, guys, has been part of the reason why the next video I've been working on and I might actually be able to get it up tomorrow, but it's kind of talking about raid group composition because I think that is a biggest I think it's one of the biggest things that people are struggling with right now. And when I say that, like I know people that know as much or more about the game than I do that are currently struggling, and it's not that they don't know how, it's that it's a monumental task, and having to question all of your previous assumptions and what have you. Like even if you get a raid comp together, cool, that's for one group, and then they're running three groups or whatever, and so it's I think it makes it even more of a daunting task. And like for the raid group thing, I think one of the biggest things for a lot of people is the optimization checklist. Just having a checklist to be like, oh, what are we missing here? Like minor courage isn't highlighted, but actually everybody's going to have minor courage because that's what we're all running on our banners. Okay, we shouldn't put that in there, so that's fine. Okay, you know, there's all kinds of stuff like stagger. Well, our main tank isn't going to stagger. We don't want that, or maybe it is. Nani says, to be honest, I'm losing my mind. Yeah,
Yeah.
uh, and I think that's how a lot of people feel. So I'm trying to work on something that I just want to make sure that I'm, as always, that I'm providing the best information I can in the most concise format, and that's why also being able to like, I just think being able to show people visually with this calculator because I have a calculator, but this one looks so much better that I think it'll be really helpful to be able to show people, and then you guys can also go grab the exact thing that I'm showing you and and be able to play with it and figure it out for yourself, and hopefully we can explain it in a way that that is a little bit more palatable and understandable, because I know there are so many groups out there that are they understand, they're like Nani's groups that and not Nani that understand that optimization is actually more important for beginning groups. It's actually more important for newer people, because if you're optimized, it makes the content easier. And when I say optimize, I mean doing things that are the most optimal for your group. That's another thing that happens with in game is that you realize that, hey, I've got this player. I've already been asking them to do 6 things. I probably shouldn't ask them to do a 7th thing, right? And then I've got this other player that I'm asking to do one thing, and I don't know if they can do that one thing that I'm asking them to do. And so that there's always a human aspect, and that never fits into these raid comps. You have to realize it's just kind of an extra thing. That's why you need something like this, because you might go, you know what, I don't think this tank can run the skill line. He really needs to run something more survivable, or whatever. I shouldn't ask him to stagger, or I shouldn't ask him to do whatever, because that's just going to lead to them dying, and that's fine. And sometimes it's, oh, in this trial, this role has a really important job. Let's not ask them to do all of this other little stuff. Let's just let them do their one really important job that is really hard to do. And And that's when you need stuff like this that's a little bit more customizable and to kind of know where you can move stuff around to make life easier for one person or another.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Actually, I used the calculator yesterday, and it was pretty useful because I was talking to a friend,
Yeah.
and he was like making a group composition for a Sanchez at hard mode, I guess. He was just making like an open run for
Okay.
Yasela training, and then he was like, "Oh, I'm doing this roster. What do you think about it, Luna?" And he put an Alkosh, a Zen Kosh in the roster, and I was
Okay.
like, I think you can do something better with it."
Right.
And then I showed the calculator, like I screen shared my screen real quick, like to show him, and I was like, "Here, your DDs, they already have this pen," and I think it was exactly the image, the pen that you have in the image right now.
Okay.
So I was like, they are like less than 2K away from pen cap. You don't need an Alkosh for that. You can
Right.
do it like you already have an Arcanist tank. You can just like put the Taunt, the Runix Thunder, or you can put Tremor Scale or whatever, because they're already so close. You don't need like to spend like a DD set just for that.
Right.
And it was pretty useful, like displaying this information. So I think it was really nice, some really fast and good application of the calculator.
Yeah, and I mean, I thought it was great. Like one of the things that we talked about is like, for a lot of pug groups. So well, actually, maybe we can just walk through this a little bit for everybody. Um, I was about to say Luna. Well, we'll tag team it. So starting off with like penetration, right? We got major and minor breach. Something that a lot of raid leads need to look at now with a lot of tanks using the sword and board taunt is that it does not contain major and minor breach. And so you have to make like you absolutely need this in your group. And pretty much everybody's expecting the tank to bring it. And I think that's very fair. And I think the tank can. They don't have to. Maybe there's somebody who could provide major breed, or actually both of these in certain situations. But generally, and it's worth looking to make sure that you actually have it, especially if your tank is not using pierce armor. Okay, make sure that these are up essentially 100% of the time on your primary targets. Infused Crusher enchant goes along with that. You need an infused back bar with a Crusher enchant, and you need it to be two-hander on your tanks. Sometimes even on your healers, depends on the fight, and you absolutely want those. So those are really really expected. And then you come down here and you kind of look at like it depends on your group. So if you're in a pug group, you know what? Some people are going to be using the new heavy attack method. You're not going to have a Velothi, so you can't really guarantee that you have that. Same thing with these sets. Can't necessarily. I mean, these are some good sets. There's a lot of reason for a lot of people to run them, but there's still situations where you might not have any of those. And then you kind of go down here and you say, well, same deal. No penetration, Grave Lord. You can't guarantee anybody's running a particular skill line. So you zero these out and you're like, okay, well, we're way under on pin. Well, what can we do? Well, right now you've got some extra monster sets, so you add Tremor Scale in. You're getting pretty close there. Well, what if your main tank happens to be in, an Arcanist? Maybe you could throw one Riddick Sunder. One thing that I think most groups are doing is that you have extra 5P sets. And so let's try Crimson Oath. Okay, well, now we're really close. Well, now if we had Tremor Scale, we're definitely over. If we had Runic Sunder, we're also over. So there's a lot of ways to get over, even if the group is bringing very little of their own pin. This piercing is just a passive. It's not even a slottable. It's just a passive. And then, oh my God, Nani said this tool is the only reason I haven't quit raid leading. Whoa. Okay. And then light armor here, running 6 medium and 1 light. It's a great way to go. And so if you just do one of these things though, you're good, right? Any tank can put on Tremor Scale. Runic Sunder's a little bit more niche. And you're good, but then you got to go, okay, well, what are we doing for everything else? And this is a conversation I had with Nani the other day, is like walking through all of this and being like, okay, she was like, I want to do raid composition. And I was like, okay, let's start here. Let's start with penetration. Let's start with critical damage. Is there any different way that you think about this, Luna, than what I'm kind of going through? Is there any approach you take?
No, that's exactly like that. Well, what you're saying, because like it depends a little bit on the group. Because if you have like more specific groups, raid leaders that are asking for really specific stuff on the DPSs, then it changes a little bit the approach because you're optimizing to something that you already know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But the cool thing about the calculator is that you can use it like in many situations. You can do it like for any build to be optimized. You can do it like for very specific stuff, and it still works really well. and it's a really great way to start because crit and pen are like two like top priority things for raid leaders to have in
Right.
mind when they are when they are doing like a group optimization. Those are very 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 important stuff. So I would start by doing that. Yes.
Yeah, and just a quick explanation of why these two things are so important. Penetration affects all of your damage, and it affects or most of it. I want to say all of it. I'm not actually 100% up on the current calculations, but I think this is true. It's generally true, if not specifically true. If you want to be pedantic, maybe I'm wrong about something, but penetration affects all of your damage, and then a lot of your damage that you do scales. I call it white damage, and then a lot of your damage you do scales off of that damage. And so if you're nerfing the base damage that you're doing, you're also nerfing the effects all of those buff sets and everything else has on your damage. So it has an outsized effect. And so if you're not, and similarly with critical damage, where basically most of the time the alternative, it depends what it is, but usually the alternative, and this is kind of the same thing with penetration, if you're not at cap on crit or pen, and you have a choice between adding penetration or something else, probably not necessarily critical here, but penetration or something else, you want to choose pen. And similarly with crit, if you have a choice between crit and something else, you want to choose crit if you're not at cap. Now, what we find is that you can get way over on both of these if you add in all of the sources. So then what we do is it's essentially the opportunity cost. Well, how do I get to penetration cap and critical damage cap? I would call it cheaply enough, right? How do we get there easily enough? The easiest way possible. And so, for example, again, looking at this from like a PUG group, we have minor brittle, which in theory you should have. You should have this, guys. I know that people are going to have really bad uptimes, even if they shouldn't. But minor brittle is very achievable now. We've got Ruin of the Colorless Pool, Ellie Sus on a couple of people in the group will easily keep it up 100% of the time, or close to it. Lucent Echoes is a great set that we're running right now. Let's not put
by
these.
the way,
What's that?
with Minor Brittle,
Yeah.
tanks are running Winter's Embrace. You can have them run Winter's Revenge, and then on top of that, with
Yeah.
Ice Wall,
Yeah.
you'll have like really good AoE uptime.
Cool. Yeah, and you can also Arctic Blast is another good one too, although that's a little bit weird. Yeah, Arctic Blast I think could be really good in trash if you're not using it for a heal. And everybody tells me I'm crazy for not wanting to use it as a heal, and they're probably right. So Arctic Blast, there you go. Or I'm sorry, Winter's
Oh,
Revenge.
I'll give you my take on that. I never use Polar Wind. I always use Arctic Blast because having like a minor brittle aura around you is, for me, it's just too strong to not use it. I source my heals elsewhere,
Yeah.
but that's just me.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it too. So yeah, thanks, Daedric. Anything else, Ben? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. I know you're sick, so I haven't been like throwing it to you too much.
No, that was it.
All right, I'll let you jump in here. If you just jump in if you got anything. So then we look down here and we go Khajiit. Not everybody's going to be on a Khajiit. Medium is the meta right now. Everybody should basically be running this. Maybe some people aren't, but what are you going to do? Minor Force. Everybody, for the longest time should and has been sourcing their own minor force. It's right here, right? So you're pretty much everybody should have this. Again, if you're in a pug where people are doing just crazy stuff, like what are you going to do? Nothing you can do. Then we look at other things like changing your weapon type is kind of a sweatier thing to do. It's not that hard, but I don't think it's something that most people do, but it is an option here. And if you're trying to get there, it could be important for you.
I would say it's more for PvP, honestly. So I wanted to put it there because for PvP, people really use Axes depending on their comp.
Right. And I mean, honestly, like, for PvE penetration, you can also change up your stuff there a little bit as well.
You could also do like a mace. I didn't put mace. I probably should have put mace there now, something to think.
Yeah, maybe something we could add, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
This is the problem. Shadow Mundus, which typically we're not running right now. I think Leonard's put this in there for a bit of completeness. And then various classes, right? They give you, so Hemorrhage passive, 10%, Adric Spear, Piercing Spear. Now, you do want to like look at these and understand what is the situation, what causes them, because some of them you have to slot a skill, some of them you don't have to do anything, and some of them it's per skill or whatever. So, as in the case of Animal Companions here. So you look at this and you go, man, we're at 93%. Oh my God, we're so far off. What are we going to do, right? This is a problem. And in the past, one of the things we've had Warhorn, major force, or Saxleel that provides the same major force, which is 20%, pretty huge. What we're finding now is that we kind of typically don't need to do this in an optimal group. And let me show you kind of, I'm debating whether or not, yeah, I'll show you why. So Adric Spear, so right now the meta setup is this. You've got Herald of the Tome, you've got Assassination, you've got Adric Spear, and you're at 127. The cap is 125. You're good. You don't need to do anything else. Mic drop, you're fine. Now, you might be in a situation where, again, you're in a pug and you don't have many of these things, maybe not any of these things. What can you do? Well, you've got an extra set, so you could slot EC on a support, probably your off tank. And I think that asking them only to bring a couple of sources is just fine. This is a personal take. Other people might have other opinions and other feelings about things, and you can kind of look at this. Well, maybe we ask them to swap in. If you're not running any of these skill lines, any of these 4 really good skill lines, then you got to put in Fighting Finesse or Backstabber, right? Or maybe you're running one of them and you're getting close. So you can kind of play with this and figure out what makes the best sense for your group. I will tell you on these CP here, guys. The average CP gives you about 3% extra damage. Okay, with off balance, sometimes in sweatier groups, I know it can be even better, but about 3% is what your average CP will give you as far as damage increase. If you look at something like Fighting Finesse, this gives you, actually we'll use Backstabber because it's an even number and it'll make the math easier. If you think about this, so what this does is it increases your critical damage by 10%. So you're getting 10% extra damage when you critical. So if you want to figure out how much actual damage, because you're not always critical, what you want to do is multiply the percentage of the time that you're scoring a critical. So just look at your crit percentage, and if you're in a trial, it's going to be 60% or above. If you're a DPS, typically, maybe way higher, and you multiply 60% by the 10% increased damage, and what you find out is that you're actually getting 6% extra damage by having this if you're not already at crit damage cap. So this is twice as good as your average CP. And that's why if you're not at crit damage, it's really important to swap your CP and get rid of other CP that will give you less damage. Now, if you can get to here otherwise, then the extra 3% damage is just icing on the cake. But if you don't, and you're in a group, then it's more important that you slot both of these if you even need to, just to get closer to that cap. So anyways, that's one way of looking at this. Now, if we look, just to go back a little bit and to talk about like the more meta setups here, if we say, okay, you know what, so what we do typically with raid group optimization, guys, we say, how do the DPS get the most damage? Okay, make them do that. And so right now, when we do that, usually the DPS have 2 Herald of the Tome abilities on our front bar. So we're getting a decent amount of penetration there. We are probably running Velothi. Pretty much everybody's running Velothi, or maybe one set, excuse me, I bit my tongue, one set that is also providing it somehow, right? Like depending on what they're running, that might not be entirely the case, but probably something close to this is going to be the case. And if we look, we see, oh, we're under on pen. Well, what do? Well, again, if our main tank is using Runic Sunder as their taunt, which is a great taunt, there's no reason not to use it. Hey, we're there. Another thing we could do, Crimson Oath. And again, we're in the same position. We're way over. We're there, but maybe not everybody has Velothi. Like I said, maybe your Zen person doesn't have, I almost said Zenkosh, but your Zen person doesn't have it. Well, again, if you're running Crimson Oath, you're going to have it. And Crimson Oath is nice because it applies to multiple targets, really easy to keep up, and you could run something. So this is, generally speaking, what I'm recommending right now. And then if you kind of come over here, most groups are running Assassination, most groups are running Herald of the Tome, and you can see that we're already at cap here. Now that's with EC. So, it kind of depends. And then the meta setup right now is running Adric Spear for that extra 10 points, so you don't have to use another 5-piece set here. And you can see we're at 127, so we're over the cap. Bob's your uncle. Anything you want to add to that?
One thing extra Yeah, one thing extra that I would like to mention, especially for penetration, which I think is worth mentioning, is like we also have to evaluate a little bit our sources. Like we have infused crusher in chat, which is nice. It does like over 2k of pen, really important.
Mm-hmm.
But if we're doing like a really cleave fight with multiple targets, it won't do much because it
Right.
will only hit like one target because the enchant doesn't proc on everything. So depending on the fight, you can also consider that and think about like, oh, okay, maybe a little bit over cap on pen, but this is important because like I'm doing rift quadrants and we have 3 rifts at the same time, and if used crusher won't hit all of them. So maybe it's a little important to get like something even greater than this cap number.
Yeah.
So it's always important to consider those stuff like Tremor Scale, really nice. Runic Thunder, really nice, but they are single target.
Mm-hmm.
Crimson Wolf is AoE, so and Alkosh the same. They are AoE, so they are really good. So
Yeah.
it's also important to consider like the situational kind of thing of each source of this, because some of those sources are really single target oriented, so like, and others are really like big areas,
Yeah, that's
and
great.
others are individual, so it's pretty easy.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's great. Yeah, Tremor Scale, you have to be the one taunting the thing. And so if you're in a situation where you have a bunch of ads or what have you, you're also trying to get down. And then, if you're in an AoE fight, probably everybody's running Velothi if you're doing the right things. Um, Most likely, I say
Yeah.
that, if you have a heavy attack Sorkin build, in group, then they maybe don't. So, um, plenty of ways to kind of figure out your own penetration here and figure out what you want to do as a group. But we'll do a whole video, guys, and I'll go down and break this down in as short of a format as I can for you guys, and kind of give you some of the options and what have you, and talk about it. Well, I don't know. Is there any? I think we've kind of covered everything for today. Is there anything we're missing, guys, that we should go over? Does anybody have any questions? Black Falcon Wolf says, seeing EC there makes me tear up a little bit. I know that was a while ago, Black Falcon, but I'm just not getting to it. Hey, Crude Red, it's good to see you. Um, but yeah, if you guys got any questions about anything, now is the time. We could talk a little bit about multi-classing. We do have a bit of time here, but let me know.
I posted a screen of the heavy attack build on Loki.
Oh, yeah. So one of the things we were going to talk about, but again,
Okay.
Daedric wasn't feeling amazing today, is that there's some guys. There's all kinds of new fun stuff going on, and I wish we could. Maybe we should do it on live streams a little bit more, and just so we can I don't know, get more of the info out there. Yeah, I'm gonna call this crazy burn, I guess. One of the things, Daedric. I mean, do you mind, man? Do you think you could give us just a little brief something on this?
Yeah, so
What are we looking at?
along with all the crazy stuff with subclassing, they added a new mythic, or God's Void Mantle. Main thing to understand what it is, it gives 50% damage done to heavy attacks, and it's multiplicative with everything else, so you just straight up get a 50% damage buff, which is like insane, and it works with Overload. And so, you combine that with Acuity on Loki, and you get some really stupid numbers.
For those who don't know, Mechanical Acuity is a crafted set that makes all of your damage done for a short period critical, and it ramps up your critical strike chance before that, and then it goes all critical for a period. So you can see here crits out of total, it's 10 out of 11. So 91% critical rate here for the heavy attack with power overload. Yeah, and so what are we looking at, man? We got a chart here. I don't know what charts mean. I don't know. You got lines on a page. What is this?
I mean, the main thing was just showing the like max hit being 300k.
Okay.
The chart up there is
crazy,
like
it's
your
crazy.
DPS over time. So
Okay.
like we pushed Loki in 14 seconds. So if you look at the x-axis, that's your time.
Okay.
So you can see like where my damage peaked at. And
Wow.
it was like around 290
Okay.
as Loki was leaving.
Yeah, so in this case, it's the dragon is on the ground until it hits a health percentage. So if you're all able to burn the health really quickly, how long did you say it took the dragon to fly up?
14 seconds.
14 seconds. Okay, so they ice dragon guys in Sunspire. Is this hard mode?
Yes, it's hard.
On hard mode, they go up and everybody, or most of the group is doing this. I take it, or is this just you?
I was the only one doing it.
Okay, you're just trying to proof of concept.
Yeah.
Daedric does this, and this is the numbers he gets. Now, what happens for the rest of the fight, for those who don't know, is like it matters a lot less because the dragon is going to RP for a set amount of time, and as long as everything's dead before the dragon lands, none of it matters. Doesn't matter how long you take. The most important thing is getting the dragon to fly as quickly as possible. Have I represented that correctly, Daedric?
Yep.
And so being able to burn, you burn with this heavy attack mythic, holding left click, fry the dragon flies up, then you can run the rest of your build relatively normally, still have enough damage to kill all the adds quickly and efficiently, and then be prepared and also be generating ult for when the dragon lands again so that you can do this once more. Am I up on all that, Daedric? Did I represent all that correctly?
Yep.
All right, cool. Madrid Girl says, like portals. If you have questions about portals, yeah, ask away. Whatever you got a question about, anything at all. I think this is absolutely crazy. I think Luna, you were talking about this. You're the one of the first people to really be like, no. Like other people had said stuff, but you were like, no, this is crazy. Do you have anything to add to this?
I'm just happy that Daedric is doing this because we need people to do that because like people are not aware of it. This is insane. Like he's doing like 300k max damage per tick. This is per second. It ticks every second. This is insane. Like it was 14 seconds with only him doing. If the entire team was doing, it would be like less than half of the seconds, like 5-6 seconds, I guess. So it's pretty insane. I love that Daedric is doing it
And Daedric,
in the live server, but I don't have the patience to build all that, honestly.
Daedric, yeah. How hard was this for you to do? How hard would this be for the
Yeah, I was
average?
going to mention that. So the rotation's literally, just pre-buff all your stuff like Inspired, Hurricane, Quick Cloak, all that stuff. And then as soon as fight starts, you literally just stampede in. You hit Contingency to get in power, and then you just hold left click until the dragon flies.
All right, that's absolutely wild.
And it will fly before your empower go away almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nuts. It
It's
looks like you were
insane.
vamp training a little bit to get ulti back, so that's a little bit different.
Yeah, so because I say slow, but 14 seconds is pretty fast. Like 14 seconds of overload is like 300 ult you have to use, so you need to gen at least a similar amount in order to do all 4 phases.
Okay. Man, well, that's really interesting. And I mean, even if you only had several people doing it too, if you needed more, I don't know. If you had like half the group vamp draining after a bit or something, I feel like there's a couple of different things you could do depending on your group. That's pretty cool. And sweatier groups obviously will have a lot less problems because there's a lot of things they can do. That's really cool. Madrid Girl, did you have do you want to follow up on that? I wasn't quite sure I was following you. Maybe you just said it in response to something else, so maybe it's not a big deal. But I just want to give you the chance to ask away if you had it. Well, I feel like we've chatted about it a lot. We're getting finished a little bit early, but I'm actually okay with that, guys. Normally I would actually. Oh wait, here we go. We got it. I was just thinking of pen and portals being different when you were earlier talking about pen. Offhand comment. Oh no. That's a great point. I'm sorry. Sometimes with a delay, I apologize. Yeah, that makes sense. If you want to check, that's another good point. If you want to check, actually, speaking of Sunspire, if you want to check your penetration, right? Like if you're doing hard mode Sunspire or if you're doing Cloud Rest and you're trying to figure out what your penetration is going to be down in a portal, because in hard mode Sunspire, that's the thing that currently I have seen the most groups progging on. You're not going to have a Crusher enchant. You probably need to source your own Major and Minor Breach, which you can do. You're not going to have Crimson Oath down there either. And so then it's like, oh, what do we have? Well, probably you're running Velothi. If you happen to be running, and I don't think this would be a bad idea, one penetration set, and you're running the meta setup here with Herald of the Tome, you see that, okay, we're pretty close, but we're still not quite there. And you might need to figure out how to get yourself there in that situation, or at least as close as you can, so that you can do maximum damage. So stuff like this can be very helpful for that. Any thoughts on Portal and getting to pin cap there, guys?
That's
Good
really
sets in
good.
Portal are like console, which gives you the pin line.
Yeah.
Historically speaking, any sets that get pin lines in Portal are really good.
We also have Tideborn right now. That's pretty close. You could like replace your Deadly with Tideborn in
Yeah,
case you want more pen.
that's what I was thinking too. Yeah, Tideborn is a new set, guys. For those who don't know, increases your direct damage. I'm remembering that correctly, right? It's direct damage. Yeah,
Yeah, 12%.
by 12%, and it also has a line of pen. So if you did, Velothi Mage Amulet, you did that Tideborn. I keep wanting to say Twiceborn, which is an old set, and nah, it's not. Don't use that Tideborn, and then on Souls, you can actually see here that you're almost at pen cap with all of that. So pretty crazy. And honestly, right now, I guess you'd have to figure out how. I don't know if you could. Yeah, if you did that crafted too, you could probably add one piece of light onto that, and because it's crafted, and so you could run two pieces of light, and you'd be at pen cap there, or you'd be over even. So you could. I don't know which one would be better, because you would lose a little bit of crit damage if you did that, but. Yeah, that's another way you can use these. Thank you, Madrid. Madrid, that's actually a really good point of like another way to use this. And then if you go over here and you look and you're like, well, what am I doing? Well, we don't have Lucent Echoes. Sourcing Brittle is typically something you would often do. You're not going to have Elemental Catalyst in there, although I guess my first clear of that was with EC. What else do we have here? Going down the list, we got Medium Armor, of course. CP. We're probably going to source some CP, right? It depends what our setup is. If we're running kind of the meta setup, we're pretty much there. We just swap, fighting finesse, and we're good, So this is a situation where, and actually we'd have 5 medium, so it'd be a little bit below in this situation if we did 2 light over here. I think this would probably be the way to go. But yeah, that's just another example of how you can use these, and this can help you out tremendously when you're doing these kind of niche things to be able to have a calculator quickly use it. Well, guys, I just want to say thank you both to Daedric and Luna for being here, guys. Thanks for taking time out. And yeah, well, I'm glad you're here. It's good to work with you guys, and I appreciate all that you do.
Derek loves you, Kaido.
Oh, thanks, Derek.
Yeah, it was fun doing all of that, and we're doing more stuff. We have more stuff for next week, so we'll continue be doing like more.
Yeah.
Tips,
Well, and
more calculators and stuff.
absolutely, yeah. And Luna already has several really cool builds out that are honestly, they're just better. They're just really good builds. They're just better than certainly what I would make by myself. And so it's awesome to be able to team up. And the same thing is Daedric's been helping me for a long time. And every time all of my setups, all of my builds, all of my info is better for having more really smart people kind of working on it together. So yeah, absolutely. So for content, guys, just so you can know what we're planning. So first thing I'm trying to do, and my thought process, I wanted to do it like a week ago, right? To get out the raid calculation stuff for everybody. And, time and chance, trust me, I'm working as hard as I can, but didn't quite get it. So hopefully we'll get it, maybe even tomorrow. But at least by Monday. And my thought is, I don't know, it's a little bit late because I know people are trying to figure out over the weekend. A lot of raid groups took off this week, and then they're coming back next week, and they want to have something. So that's why I wanted to get it out absolutely as soon as possible. And then we've got several builds I just posted today for the public. They had been out to channel members for I think over a week, but a couple of those quote unquote cards is what I call them. And just to show you guys quickly actually where those are at, if you go to the homepage here for Night Horror Gaming, and then you go to posts, you can see this stuff. Now, I have had people tell me they have issues when they click on this. It won't enlarge. Actually, it's doing it to me right now on desktop. Sometimes they will, sometimes they won't. I don't know why on mobile you can usually zoom in and see the whole card. I'm actually having the same problem here. This is a YouTube thing, but all of these cards are here. You might need to go there on mobile and you'll be able to blow it up. And you can actually, and I think someone's also saying that if they right-clicked and saved image, it was saving like this cropped image. But you can go there on mobile, guys, and you can save it to your phone at least. And again, it's under posts. and you can have these. So this is my Ice Atronach. This is another build, and then I call it Arcane Fire. So this is a DK build with Earth and Heart Soldier of the Apocrypha, Gravelord, or Flex, and then this is Winter's Embrace, Daedric Summoning. And then the other day I did all of my other builds, kind of posted these here. We will have these on the website. As I mentioned, we all, well, I do this full time, but everybody else does not. So we will have these hopefully up on the web. Well, we already have some. We already have most of these up on the website. We'll have the last couple, but they're here for you if you're like, what do I do with my tank? I've gotten a lot of those questions, and just know that these are being made into videos. And again, there's so much up in the air and so much stuff has changed. I just want to make sure that if I'm spending all this time making a video, that I'm making the best thing possible, and that it'll be useful for you guys in the future. And you won't be like, oh, you can recommend this video, and you won't be like, oh, but wait, one thing is different, or oh, you need to actually do this. We learned something else. So just realize that's what's going on. So, and then Luna. Again, Luna has a couple of crazy, really good builds that I'd like to talk more about. So we'll also be doing that as well. And you can actually see those up on her YouTube, which is... Luna, can you plug your YouTube for us if anybody wants to see the parse?
It's the same. It's the same. You just
Okay.
put Luna Kaido, and I'm there.
Okay. All right. There we
I'm
go.
in the chat.
Yeah.
You can just click my channel anyway
Cool.
as well. It's just my name.
We'll see if it pops up. Here you go. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, so this is a Magicka support DPS with Zen and it's Arc, Nightblade, and DK, and then a beam build here with Arc, Nightblade, and DK. So, and then also, which we already plugged. I think I sent out to everybody. Luna explaining her roster tool for everybody. So if you need it there, it's a very short video. Everything's very condensed, and it's all right there for you. And yeah. Normally, guys, so that's what we got planned for the coming week, just so you have an idea of what's going on. And yeah, I think we'll call it here for today. Normally, we would be jumping from this into a couple of trials. Today is my anniversary with my wife, so nothing tonight. I kind of wanted to surprise her, so I didn't really tell the groups, and kind of on the DL, let them know. And yeah, so it's part of one of those things that work is important, but spending time with the ones you love is more important for sure. So we'll be back and have as much as I can for next week, though. But again, thank you both for being here. Luna, all of your hard work. Daedric, the website looks great, man. I appreciate everything you do with that.
Yeah, man.
Thank you, and congrats,
fun.
Knight. I didn't know about that. Congratulations.
Oh well, thank you. 11 years since we started dating is the
Oh my
the
God.
number.
This is half of my age.
It's been a while, so we haven't been married that entire time, but that's when we met. And but yeah, hey guys, also listen. There's 3 of us. We got to make a living over here, and we'd love to do this more full time. So if you like what you see, subscribe, share the videos, share the tools with other people. Let them know what we got going on here. Tell them to check out the website. If you really like it, or you like the merch, go check it out. The merch is really cool. I think we got some good stuff here. So it's an excuse. You gotta wear clothes anyways. So why not get some nerdy gamer stuff over here and help support us and help us keep making great content. But thank you, Nani says happy anniversary. But anyways, that's it for today, guys. I appreciate everybody for watching, everybody for being here. It's an honor for me that anybody would watch anything that I do or would appreciate it at all. So I absolutely appreciate all of you guys. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks, everybody.